The alien ship, Zilther's Quest, hovered over the turbulent skies of X-473, a planet so hostile it had been classified as Lethal Classification Omega. From orbit, the surface was a churning mess of volcanic eruptions, razor-sharp storms, and seismic chaos. No intelligent species should survive here. Yet, the research team was sent to confirm the impossible. Commander Vyrek adjusted his helmet, scanning the jagged terrain below. Toxic winds howled, and the air shimmered with heat waves rising from rivers of molten rock. His second-in-command, Salith, shifted nervously beside him, her mandibles clicking in anxiety. "This world shouldn't harbor life," Vyrek muttered. "And yet readings indicate structures maintained." "Explain that." The ship's AI, cold and clinical, replied. "Unexplained anomalies. Manual investigation required." The team descended in an armored lander, its hull groaning under the planet's crushing atmospheric pressure. Outside, the landscape boiled, geysers spat acidic vapor, and distant creatures the size of their ship prowled the horizon. Each step was a gamble against the environment. A sudden tremor rocked the ground beneath them. Solace steadied herself, antennae twitching as her scanner lit up in warning. "Life form detected, large, predatory, approaching fast." The beast exploded from the undergrowth, 6 limbs, glistening fangs, and eyes that burned with feral hunger. It was a living nightmare, a creature evolved to dominate one of the deadliest environments they had ever encountered. Vyrek barely had time to react before the beast lunged, claws flashing towards Salith's throat. His weapon flared, but the creature was too fast. It should have been the end. Instead, a blur slammed into the monster's side, sending it crashing to the ground. Vyrek's mind struggled to process what he saw, a figure, tall and lean, wearing what could only be described as light armor. Human. Impossible. No species should survive here, let alone look so casual. The human flicked something on his wrist. The creature spasmed, its limbs going limp. With a lazy smile, he turned toward the gaping aliens. "Close call. You guys must be new." Vyrek's voice faltered. This world, it's a death trap. How are you alive?" The human laughed, brushing dust from his shoulder. "Death trap? Nah, we call it Death World Paradise. Kind of catchy, right?" He tilted his head. "Name's Jack. You folks look like you could use a guide." Stunned silence hung in the air. Nothing about this situation made sense. Vyrek's mind demanded answers. "Explain." "Now." Jack chuckled and gestured toward the landscape with a sweep of his arm. "Relax. You're not in danger. Well, not if you stick with me. Around here, we like our vacations with a little kick." "Vacations?" Salith's voice trembled on the edge of disbelief. "Yeah," Jack said, grinning. "You think all this is scary? You should see the spa. Come on, you're about to have the time of your life." Vyrek struggled to process the human's words. The air was thick with heat and danger, yet Jack stood there like it was nothing more than a mild inconvenience. Salith's mandibles twitched in confusion as her scanner buzzed uncontrollably, overwhelmed by the sheer number of life-threatening anomalies nearby. "You're telling us this is a leisure destination?" Vyrek's voice was sharp, disbelief dripping from every syllable. Jack grinned. 5-star, all-inclusive. Danger's just part of the fun." He pivoted, gesturing for them to follow. "Come on, you'll get it once you loosen up. First time's always a shock." The aliens exchanged glances, hesitating before trailing behind him. The path twisted through razor-sharp foliage, the ground vibrating beneath their feet. Vyrek's grip tightened on his weapon as another beast, bigger, faster, emerged from the shadows. Before he could react, Jack tossed a small, glowing sphere. The creature froze mid-stride, its aggressive snarl melting into docile curiosity. "Tranquilizer pulse," Jack said casually. "We keep the big guys chill unless someone's looking for a challenge." Salith's voice quivered. "You control these things?" Jack laughed. "Control? Nah. We just give 'em a little nudge. Makes things interesting, keeps the tourists coming back." Besides, where's the thrill if nothing bites? The landscape grew more insane with each step. Lava cascaded down jagged cliffs as humans in sleek suits surfed the molten rivers, their laughter echoing against the roars of subterranean beasts. Further ahead, a towering cyclone twisted across the plains, but instead of fleeing, humans dove straight into it, wearing winged exosuits that cut through the winds like blades. Vyrex's logic strained under the weight of what he was seeing. This level of danger, it would destroy any rational species. Rational's boring, Jack said, his voice warm with amusement. We came here to feel alive. Nothing sharpens the senses like brushing against the edge. A tremor shook the ground beneath them. Solith flinched, her exoskeleton rattling. Jack barely acknowledged it. His focus was on a jagged cliff where a human woman dangled over a pit of churning magma, laughing as she swung back to solid ground. You people are insane, Vyrex snapped. Why subject yourselves to this chaos? Jack stopped, turning toward them with a glint in his eye. Why not? You don't live by hiding in a bubble. You live by pushing the limits. Out here, you're always one heartbeat away from feeling everything. A shiver crawled through Vyrex's nerves. This wasn't survival. It was something else, something alien to everything he knew. And yet, part of him couldn't help but wonder what it might feel like. Vyrex's mind raced to find logic in the chaos around him. Nothing about this world made sense, until Jack led them to an unmarked passage hidden beneath a ridge. The air grew cooler as they descended, the violent sounds of the surface fading behind sleek metal walls. This wasn't a natural formation. It was engineered. The chamber opened into a sprawling facility humming with energy. Holographic displays flickered with data, weather patterns, creature movements, even the precise flow of lava rivers. Humans in control stations casually adjusted environmental hazards like it was part of a routine. You didn't just find this world, Vyrex said, his voice edged with disbelief. You built it. Jack flashed a satisfied smile. Welcome to the core. This whole place? It's our playground. Terraforming tech keeps the balance, and the wildlife? Custom made. Every thrill, every danger, you're looking at the ultimate adventure park. Solitha's limbs stiffened in shock. You engineered a death world, for entertainment? Not just entertainment, Jack corrected. It's a lifestyle. People pay a fortune to push their limits here. Fear sharpens you. Survival makes you appreciate every breath. Most species hide from danger. Humans? We chase it. Vyrex's analytical mind rejected the idea. No advanced species would willingly place themselves in harm's way. Yet, the evidence was irrefutable. Humans not only survived this chaos, they had mastered it. A console flashed red, and Jack tapped a command. A live feed showed a group of visitors laughing as they wrestled with a massive, serpent-like beast. With a subtle adjustment, the creature's aggression scaled down to safe levels, but the adrenaline on the visitors' faces remained. This is madness, Solith murmured. Why take such risks? Jack's expression softened. Because life isn't meant to be safe. You never feel more alive than when you face something that could end you. And when you beat it, nothing compares. Vyrex's perspective wavered. His species valued caution, precision, life within safe parameters. But watching humans twist a death world into their personal playground stirred something unfamiliar in him. A question he couldn't silence. You find pleasure in this? His voice was quieter, almost curious. Jack chuckled. More than that. We find freedom. His eyes met Vyrex. You've been surviving. We're living. Big difference. The words lingered, heavy and unsettling. For the first time, Vyrex wondered if everything he knew about existence had been limited by fear. Vyrex stood in silence, the weight of Jack's words pressing against everything he had believed. His species had spent millennia avoiding risk, designing lives free of danger. Yet here were humans, turning the most hostile environment imaginable into a playground and calling it freedom. Jack clapped his hands together, breaking the tension. All right, enough talk. You've seen the backstage tour, now it's time for the real experience. A section of the wall slid open, revealing an immense chamber. Inside, towering cliffs hung over roaring magma, winds howled through a labyrinth of jagged spires, and bioluminescent predators swam in shimmering underground lakes. It was a gauntlet of every terrifying element the planet had to offer, but humans moved through it with effortless confidence. Virek's instincts screamed to refuse. This was reckless. Yet something inside him stirred, a need to understand how they thrived where others would crumble. Without realizing it, he stepped forward. Jack grinned. I knew you had it in you. Don't worry, I'll keep you alive. Probably. The first challenge was a vertical climb along a cliffside riddled with thermal vents. Heat radiated around them as Virek clung to the surface, every movement testing his strength. Jack scaled it with ease, guiding him through with an unsettling calm. Despite his fear, Virek's limbs burned with a sensation he barely recognized: exhilaration. Next came the underwater tunnels. Submerged in near-total darkness, Virek followed as bioluminescent creatures swam close enough to brush against his armor. Panic surged, until Jack reached back, giving a reassuring tap. Somehow, that simple gesture steadied him. The final stretch was a freefall into a controlled cyclone. Jack leaped first, his body twisting gracefully through the vortex. Virek hesitated only a second before plunging after him. The wind roared past, but beneath the terror was an electric thrill, a feeling he couldn't deny. When they landed, Virek staggered to his feet, his heart pounding. The fear was still there, but so was something else. Something wild. Something free. Jack leaned against the console, watching him with a knowing smirk. Not bad, Commander. Feels different when you stop watching and start doing, huh? Virek didn't answer immediately. For the first time in his life, words seemed inadequate to capture what he felt. Finally, he spoke, quiet, but certain. You're not just surviving. You're alive in ways we've never imagined. Jack's smile widened. Exactly. And hey, this was just the beginner course.